Hey guys, welcome to this new video. And in this video, we will be talking about, what are the difference between different roles. That is your data scientist, data analyst, data business analyst, machine learning engineer. I'll give you a good idea about what are the difference between these roles and what are the basic categories or the parameters on which you differentiate these roles. Right. So generally, what people do, they differentiate these roles on the basis of salary, which is absolutely wrong. Salary can be varying. Salary depends on the project, depends on the company, depends on your country as well, your location, and of course your experience level. So there are many factors to salary, right? So let's not I'll give you a good idea about it, what's a difference on the basis of salary as well. But let's first see majorly what how do we actually differentiate these things. So basic difference that I think people should take while talking about these roles should be the skill level. So in data, when I'm saying data, I'm talking about whole data. I'm not just talking about data science. I'm talking about data analysis, everything. So I'm referring to that whole industry, everything that you see, like from data analyst, data scientist, AI, open AI, anything. Count them like something. Let's call them data industry. Okay. So in data industry, there are many skills, right? So let's name some of the skill. So some skill that we should know are Python, then you have SQL, then you have Excel, then you have machine learning, then you have deep learning, then apart from that you have other tools, right? For example, software development tools, right? So let's say you have GitHub, right? And you have engineering tools like or tools that helps you manage your applications like Docker or Kubernetes. Then you have visualization tool like Power BI, and you have Tableau, right? So there are many tools like this. So when we differentiate these designation, we differentiate between, let's say, data analyst and data scientist. The major differentiation comes on the basis of what particular skill level you have. Okay, so a combination of skill level. So when I'm talking about a data analyst, just on a basis of skill level, has to be concerned about SQL, ML, Excel, and that's it, right? This is basically all a data analyst has to worry about. Okay, you have to know these skills out of all the skills that are there in the industry. Now, when we talk about data scientist, okay, first guys, we're just discussing what's the differentiation on the basis of skill level. We'll go into details of other level as well. Okay, so for a data scientist, you have to know Python, you have to know SQL, you have to know ML, you have to know Excel, you have to know a good amount of GitHub as well, you have to know Power BI, Tableau as well, have to know deep learning as well, you have to know Excel, Python, and everything, right? So this bracket comes for our data scientist. Okay, now you would be taking data analyst will also include Power BI. I forgot to add that, but yeah, you can get the hang of it. So this is like the basic criteria of differentiation. There are many skills out there. Many of them are used randomly in a project. For example, let's say in a project in a company, what they are doing, they are getting a data from somewhere. They are doing data analysis. I'm just giving you outline of a simple project. Okay, they are doing data analysis, and after doing a data analysis, they are making a dashboard. Okay, dashboard, and on that dashboard they are showing insights, right? So they get a raw data, they do some analysis on it, and they do build show that those analysis on a dashboard, and those analysis, or basically on dashboard you see those analysis and you can relate them to insights. So let's say this is basic project that the company is doing. Okay, this is a basic project. Now for each task they might use different skill, right? So for data analysis, they can do it in Python as well. In Python there are libraries that you can use for data analysis. Then you can use Excel as well, then you can use SQL as well, right? And you can so all of these data analysis can be done in all of these tools. Similarly, when you're building a dashboard, you're basically building charts. You can build these charts in Python, you can build them in let's say Power BI, right? Or you can build these charts in Excel as well, right? Now similarly, again, insights, the difference is just dashboard will show you some KPI. Insights is just like a proper term for valuable charts, right? Again, insights you can have in Power BI, you can have insights in Excel, right? So you see, I have to do a task and I have multiple tools to do it. Now, let's say my personal, let's say I am owner of this company, and I think, and I the process is going this way. Okay, we generally do our data analysis in Python, and then we project these analysis on Power BI, right? So for that, I don't need someone with SQL, although it's good to have a person with SQL, but I don't necessarily need someone who is an expert in SQL. So I'll post a job and I'll say, okay, I need someone who is good in Python libraries, and I want someone who is really good in Power BI, right? So what I'll call that job, I'll call that a data analyst, right? I don't need to do machine learning, I don't need to do even Excel. That's it. It's good to have skill. You have Excel, SQL, that is fine. But what my current requirement is I want you to do data analysis using Python, and I want you to connect that to Power BI. That is my basic requirement for you. For that, I am giving you a job of a data analyst, and this is a job description. This would be a pay, and that is the whole package. You see the difference. Based on my requirement, I created that thing, and I figured it out. Okay, what all skills I need, and then I'll make a job description. Okay, this is thing I need, and these things generally come under the category of data analyst. So it's the reverse way. Generally, what we do, we say, okay, if you're data analyst, these all things you should know. No, it's not like that. It's coming from the requirement. Okay, this is what we need. This would be done by these particular number of skills. These skills fall under a category of a data analyst, right? Now, now let's say after data analyst, we are also doing a bit of machine learning here. Okay, we are also doing a bit of machine learning here, and we are outputting the result of that machine learning along with our data analysis on our Power BI dashboard. So now you need someone with a Python knowledge, you need them to have a machine learning knowledge, and of course you need them to have a visualization knowledge. Now either you can break this thing, I can have a person do data analysis for me and Power BI and Excel for me, that is fine, but I also want them to know a lot of machine learning, right? So in that case, I will have a data scientist, because now I see that particular skill falls under category of data scientist. Okay, so that is basically a basic difference on a skill level, that there are multiple skills out there. Based on requirement what companies have, they choose a particular skill. Okay, we need someone with these particular skill level, and then they see, okay, which particular skill, a combination of those skills form. Okay, if there's a machine learning, you need to have a data scientist for that. Okay, so this is how we differentiate the roles. Okay, the two basic roles. This is a complete list. Okay, for data analyst, major difference is data analyst does not need to necessarily have machine learning. Although as of now, what we see, like if you will go to LinkedIn, you see any job description, you will see that they need data analyst or to have machine learning knowledge, at least a fundamental machine learning knowledge of, let's say, regression or linear regression, like that. But if you're going for data scientist, absolutely you need to be really good in machine learning, and also good in deep learning and Gen AI stuff. So that is what the basic idea is. They will have a skill level pool of skills, and you choose a combination of skill level to create a designation. That is a basic idea. Now, again, I will not go through the list of skills. You can just Google it yourself. You can see, okay, what is the difference, what all skills are needed for data scientists. Nobody will lie to you, don't worry. But that will be a waste of time just to cover that repeated thing in this video. What I want you to understand is to clear this confusion. Okay, there is a category of data scientists, and they do something very different from data analysts. If you're a data analyst, you will be safe from machine learning, right? I just want you to get those myths out of you. Okay, so that was one basic criteria. How do you differentiate them on a basis of skill? It's all based on requirement, as we discussed. Next thing is the responsibilities. Now comes a little bit of repetitive thing. You must have listened to this before as well, but it's important to listen. Is that when I'm talking about data analyst, I want someone to analyze my data. That's it, right? It's a simple term. But when I'm talking about somebody called data scientist, right? Now the word scientists come in, and when scientists come in, there are many theoretical and academic knowledge, those kind of stuff, and research kind of stuff come in. Okay, so in easy terms, a job of a data analyst is a bit simpler than a data scientist. That will not be a thing. Simpler in a terms of complex research, right? That is the thing. It's not simpler like they would do less task, right? It would be just like that. Let's say common scenario. We can say on a random level, if a project is running and there is a data analyst in a team, and then there is a data scientist in a team. Okay, and the project is running, they are building, let's say, an application that does food delivery. Okay, So a job of a data analyst or daily task of a data analyst would be something like to get the correct visualization of data, to get some insights out of the data, right? Get insights, right? Insights out of the data, build visualization or pre-process the data, pre-processing of data. These would be something task which data analyst would be indulged in. Meanwhile, the data scientist would be indulged in the same project. They would be indulged in tasks which would be something like indulged in tasks will be something like researching for a right algorithm, research for right algorithm. See some use cases, reading papers, right? Building and testing algorithms, building and testing algorithms, right? So these would be something tasks or data scientists would be responsible for. Okay, and then together they'll put in their effort daily, and then the application will build. So this is basically the responsibility that. So in easier term, if you look from easier term, the task of data science analyst seems easier. Yeah, you just have to do insights and build visualization. Don't have to do research papers and all. But again, it's not like they have to work less. It's just the kind of a work is different. When somebody signs in for a data science job, they have a knowledge of these things. They know what machine learning algorithms. They know what they have to do. They might not be an expert in Power BI. I've been a data scientist for 3 years. I had a good amount of knowledge in Power BI, but I didn't know about Power Apps or something like that. On account of people in my team who were working as data analysts were expected to know Power Apps and how do you work on Power Apps, how did they help us to make your dashboard a bit advanced. So that is the thing. You have a different skill sets. Obviously, you have and the skills which are common. For example, when we discuss these things, we said okay, for data analysts and data scientists, these skills basically are common. Python, SQL, Excel, these are common things, right? So the amount of experience or expert level required for these is different. So for a data analyst, you need a really, really good level of SQL. But working for a data scientist, you don't need to have expert in SQL, right? Your aim as a data scientist from SQL is just to fetch your data. You don't need to write any complex query. That is expected from you in an ideal job environment. At the end of this video, guys, I'll cover a really interesting point, which will actually it's quite important for you to know, right? How companies are fooling students with the myth of the titles, right? We'll cover that point as well. But we covered 2 points now. We covered sorry for my poor editing. I didn't put any much graphic, but this is core knowledge, right? So we covered 2 points till now. The point one was what's the difference between different designations based on skill, how to differentiate. What all skills you need for different skills, that is just information. There's no point of me reading it out to you. You can just Google it out, right? The other thing is how do different responsibilities for different designation look. We took example of data analyst and data scientist again. Then you have your research, and on one side you have research and you have insights. Summary is data analyst work seems easy, but it's not easy. Just a different skill set, a different experience, expert level required, and a different skill set. Next thing is next thing I want to discuss. We have discussed 2 things. What you should go for. Next thing what you should go for. Let's say you're starting out to be someone to enter the field of data science or data analyst or machine learning engineer, whatever you want to be, and or you could be someone who's already working in an industry and now you want to switch to a data analyst role, right, or a data scientist role. So who should go for which role? So first of all, there's no limit, right? Sky is the limit. So you don't need to control yourself. Okay, I am not that good in coding, I should not go in that field. It's just your myth. You can learn those things, right? So just a thing, whenever I go to an interview, whenever they ask me, do you know this thing? If I don't know that thing, I don't lie and I don't deny it either, right? Just like this. You don't if you ask me, Keshu, do you know Java? So I will say, yeah, I have never worked on Java, but I know that okay, if you're giving me a time, so I can learn that Java skill, right? I'm not afraid to know. I have never seen Java, so I don't know what I do it. You just give a positive attitude towards things and things will fall in place. So that's what the thing is. If now let's see some categories, right? Let's say I want to become a data analyst, right? So who should become a data analyst? And who should become a data scientist, who should become a business analyst, and who should become let's say machine learning engineer, right? I'm not that good in data engineering, so I'll give you some reference for people, who will give you a good idea about data engineering field, but I'm not an expert in that, so I won't speak on that. So uh, first of all, skill level, have seen the skill level and different experience level and skill level. In general, if you have a fear of coding, right? If you have a fear of coding and still you are committed to enter this field, don't go into a field of data analyst or data scientist or even machine learning engineer. Go into a field of business analyst, right? If you have a fear of coding and you have that willingness, I anyway want to field of data and I don't have any options, I want to enter the field of data but I don't want to do Python. So that case, it goes for a field of business analyst. Even in that you will require some coding, but you can do that with even basic amount of coding. You can do business analyst role. Yeah. So you talk about business analyst, okay, if you are not that good in coding and you just want to make a entry into a data field, business analyst could be a role for you, where you will handling more of business side rather than specifically analyst side or working with numbers. You will be working with developing the business, understanding business terms, understanding KPIs, how would data relate to business, those terms, instead of writing a code yourself or crunching numbers. But if you're good in mathematics or if you're good in statistics, in that case you should go into a field of data scientist. Reason being that there are many things in data science when you learn to be a data scientist that we don't learn in your typical mathematics things, right? That would be your statistics, advanced statistics, inferential and differential statistics, and that is a big change, right? Because we don't learn those things up to it. Like for example, I studied in CBSE board, I didn't study those mathematical things until till my 12th. There was, I'm not talking about your calculus or matrices or vectors, I'm talking about statistics, advanced statistics that we don't study till 12th. But yeah, when you move to data scientist, you will study those terms. And what I have seen after my my own journey as well, and following other people's journey while mentoring them as well, that is a point where people generally break, where you have to learn advanced statistics. So if you're ready for that, if you're good at statistics, then dive into the field of become a data scientist. Because see, once you cover that complex hurdle of statistics and mathematics, right, then it's all the cool part, right? It's all the machine learning part, it's all the algorithm part, getting results, training the model, predicting, testing, which is like the kick thing for data scientists, if you know what I'm saying. So those kind of things differentiate them on a basis of what a person should go for. There is no straight rule. What I would suggest someone who's a starting out career, if you have a fear of mathematics, start basic from coding. Just forget mathematics, start basic from coding, start learning Python, start learning SQL, and then see you'll get a hang of it. Once you have start learning SQL and Python, many doors will open for you. You can go into data engineering, business analyst, product analyst, data scientist, all doors will open for you. But you have to start somewhere. So if you are fresher, if you don't know anything where to go, just start with Python and SQL from the any resource that you feel comfortable with, or an instructor you feel comfortable with, right? Next thing, if let's say someone is doing a job in a non-IT field and they want to transition in field of data science, same thing goes as for a fresher. If you don't know anything, start with Python and then with SQL, and then many gates will open for you. If you're not feeling comfortable in Python and SQL, that is a sign that this field is not for you. Okay, that is basically the idea. Next thing, let's say you are someone who is working into IT industry, but you have never worked with Python. Let's say you are a quality tester, you're working as a software developer, you have good knowledge of C++, so you have got experience of 2 or 4 years, right? Let's say you want to transition into a field of data science or data analyst. So what will be the right thing for you to do? In your case, it will be right if you move if you move towards learning more tools apart from Python. Obviously Python you'll have to learn, but more tools apart from Python will be right for you, because you don't need to waste your experience, right? So what I have seen people doing is that they're working, let's say, in a steel plant, okay, and in case of steel plant, you have no experience of coding or anything, right? The job description does not ask you to do that, your daily routine does not ask you to code anything. So when they move into an IT field, they think that they're going as a fresher, but that's not the case, right? It's the way you present yourself. If you present your experience that you're bringing, see, you are working in industry, so you have that experience with you, right? So it depends on how you portray that experience to people. Okay, I have this experience of understanding industry, working with clients or delivery time, all those things. So don't go as a fresher in that case. Like, don't portray yourself as a fresher, don't think yourself as a fresher. But yeah, obviously on skill level you would be fresher, but that's not the only criteria, right? So that is the basic idea. If you have no idea, Python is the go-to point for you. If you are good in Python, if you know a bit of SQL, where to move next? Learn machine learning, right? That is would be your next step. There's a fixed step, guys, right? For any person to start, I'm not talking about data engineering. For any person to start, these are the fixed step. You have to learn Python, you have to learn SQL, then you have to learn Power BI, and then you have to learn machine learning, then you have to learn deep learning, right? And then you have to learn other technologies like cloud or something. This is the fixed criteria, right? Nothing changes in this. It's just like how quickly you do that. So I've seen people skipping things, right? So when people learn a good amount of Python, they generally do SQL quickly and then move toward machine learning part, which is like the fun part. But again, you break, right? Because in your interview you'll ask SQL. So move in a strategic manner, follow a right person, follow right courses, follow way, give you enough time on each particular thing. So it's the same path, guys. You might catch at a different point. Let's say you already know this much and you want to become a data scientist, right? So then you have to learn machine learning and deep learning. So it's the same path, right? Whenever you go, wherever you talk to a person, in a senses will direct you toward this path. Next thing I want to talk about is salary, which is like the fun part. Okay, what's the salary difference between these roles? Okay, so salary difference basically it's huge, right? I won't lie, it's huge, but it's not fixed, right? So again, your salary depends on the company that you're working on. It's most important, your experience level, right? And then your job description. These are the priority on which your salary depends on. Okay, now people think, okay, data scientist will make more than a data analyst. So let's say there's a person who is working as a data analyst, okay, data analyst for 3 years, right? And there's someone who is just going as a data scientist and it's a fresher, right? 0 years of experience. So whose salary would be more, right? Generally you would think the salary of a data scientist would be more, right? No, it's not like that. In this case, the salary of data analyst is likely to be more. I'm not even talking about the company, right? Salary of a data analyst is likely to be more because the experience of 3 years, it's huge, right? Next criteria would be company. Let's say someone is working as a business analyst, okay, in Google. Okay, I don't think Google have business analyst role, but let's say somebody is working in the business analyst in Google, and somebody is working again as a data scientist. I'm taking data scientist because generally what people have in mind, is their salary structure is something like this. You have business analyst, then you have data analyst, then you have data scientist. Data scientists earn more than data analysts, and data analysts earn more than business analysts. Generally, this is like the perception, which is absolutely wrong. In this case, a business analyst working at Google might be earning more than a data scientist who is working in like a tier 3 consulting company. I won't name any company, but let's say he's working in a tier 3 consulting company somewhere. So in that case, a business analyst at Google would be earning more. A business analyst at Google would be more happier, right? So that is the basic idea, right? Your salary depends on your 3 priority levels. First of all, depends on company, then it depends on your experience, and it depends on your job descriptions. So, or job designation, sorry. So comparing it just on a basis of designation it's absolutely wrong. Next thing, and the last thing we're going to discuss, is a big myth, right? So see, now I've said this multiple times that companies, like people want a good designation. If I have it, and I'll be completely honest, if I have 2 options to be a data analyst and data scientist, same salary, I'll choose a data scientist because data scientist is more cool. It's the sexiest job of 21st century. So that is basically thing where people start to break. So companies use this thing, right? So how would it be that let's say I'm a startup owner, okay, and I know that people want to be data scientists, and there is no rule anywhere, right? And there are many people who are learning across many platforms. So there's a pile of people with a good skill level, and I want someone to do many things for me, and I want them cheaper, right, at a less price. So let's say I want them to have a skill set of Excel, SQL, and Python. This is all I want you to have, and their major work would be in Excel and SQL. Okay. So if I'll go out there, I'll say okay, I am hiring for data analyst. I'll get a lot of applications, and let's say I'm giving a CTC of 8 LPA. Okay, 8 LPA. I'll get a lot of application where people will apply for a role of data analyst, right? Now, alternatively, what I can do, right? Let's say I have an evil mindset. So I'll say okay, I have a job opening for a data scientist. You know, you need to have everything in the skills of data scientist. Although I will only allow you to work or ask you to work on Excel and SQL, but you have to know everything, and you have to be a data scientist. But yeah, I'll pay you 7 LPA. Okay, now just forget what I was doing and just tell me if you see these two job description on naukri.com or on LinkedIn or any other place, which one you will choose. You are data scientist with a 7 LPA job, and you're data analyst with an 8 LPA job. Don't lie to me, most of you will choose a data scientist with a 7 LPA job, right? So that is the basic thing. Companies knows that you want to be a data scientist, you just want that designation for you, like that is the thing. And that's why many of people you will see on LinkedIn, on even on in the company as well. Like when I ask people, I'll share my opinion as well. I've seen people who are working on a data scientist role and they don't know Python, right? I've seen people who have worked 2 years as a data scientist and just worked on Power BI, right? So that's a difference. So this is again a myth actually. And like, how do you tackle with it? Just focus on one thing. How did you start it? Like when you started out, if your goal was to become a data scientist, if your goal was okay, I just want a designation of data scientist, doesn't matter. Your goal was to become data scientist, you became a data scientist, nothing else is more important than you achieving your goal. That is fine. But if you're going in a practical thing, ideally when you're going for a role, going for a job, the most important thing that you should look for is your salary. You want a higher package, right? You want a good project. So there's two things that you should focus on: good project and focus on good pay, right? What all projects you'll be working on, what all good pay you are working on. Why working on good project is important, guys? Because good project will eventually lead you to get a better job next time. Let's say this person who's working as 7 LPA as a data scientist here, working with the Excel and SQL. Let's say they want to switch after a year or some, right? After a year or some, they have some sense in themselves and they want to switch. In that case, obviously they'll portray their resume somewhere, and what they'll show a project where they have worked on Excel and SQL. So next time, will somebody take this person who's claiming 1 year of experience as a data scientist into a data scientist role? Absolutely not. Why? Because sir, you don't have have no experience working on machine learning in industry. You have worked on SQL and Excel, right? That is why when you're taking up a job, having a good idea of what project you're working on and what pay you're getting is the only criteria that you look for. Just go beyond designation, go beyond what title that you're getting. Just focus on the project, just focus on the pay. That is all you need to do in today's time. So yeah, that was all. I wanted to cover some good points, some good myths. Sorry I didn't cover that much of theory information. There's a lot of things. Just Google it on LinkedIn, just write it on ChatGPT what all skills you need for data scientists. It won't lie to you, right? So there's no point of me just reading those things out to you. So thank you for giving me your time to get discuss these things. Please write your things in comments, and you'll get some good announcements from me over LinkedIn. We at Creator Skills are coming with some good courses, some good affordable and actually quite practical courses which will help people a lot, right? So and I'll be teaching there. Shashank Mishra would be teaching there. So you can check the links out of the courses from my LinkedIn page and from Instagram. And thank you for being with me with this video. There were a lot of things that I want to discuss, and I discussed that properly. So yeah, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.